to vibe, but yeah, cool. B, did you go to the Cat Hall March the other day?
Yes, I
Did?
was there.
I saw.
It was really nice.
I saw a lot. Oh, go ahead.
Yes. Hello, welcome to our live. My name is B, and I am the Vice President of Public Outreach and Public Relations for the National Fraternity Council.
And my name is Luke Safras. I am a senior industrial engineering, and I am one of the vice presidents of recruitment for the Interfraternity Council. Today, we're going to just hopefully cover a little bit about our sorority and fraternity community at Iowa State in general, share a lot of details about each of our councils, about our community as a whole, our values. This is being recorded, so if you are watching this in the future, or you are jumping back later, if you join late and jump back later, we hope that this provides information for you. And please feel free to share it with people that you think may be interested. Share it with the people around you. Really help spread the word of our community, because we really want to share all the amazing things our community has to offer with as many of our incoming freshmen as we possibly can. So with that, B, if you want to kick us off, we can start going.
All right. So most of you, if you don't know what sororities and fraternities are, you're probably asking yourself, what are sororities and fraternities? So to best simply answer that, sororities and fraternities are simply local and international organizations that focus on social aspects as well as community aspects. They are social organizations and they promote lifelong membership.
We just some fast facts about our sorority and fraternity community as a whole at Iowa State. So 1 in 6 of our undergraduate students at Iowa State is involved in a sorority or fraternity within one of our 4 councils. So there are certain organizations on campus that are like honor societies, which have Greek letter names, but this is specifically referencing these social organizations that are associated with the sorority and fraternity office. So like I said, 1 out of every 6 students is involved in one of these social organizations. This is about 4,400 members approximately across campus. These individuals are spread out across 59 different organizations, spread across 4 different governing councils. 43 of these organizations have chapter facilities. The other 16 do not, but they still function just like a normal chapter. Any other chapter would. They just don't have a facility associated with their chapter, which for normal chapter operation is not really a huge hindrance. It's just a different experience for students that may prefer a more socially focused organization. So both will give you the same experience, just a slightly different venue in which you participate in it. Within our community, we have a 99.2% first-year retention rate. This means that 99.2% of our freshman members will come back for their sophomore year here at Iowa State, which we are very proud of. We're super proud that our community across all 4 of our councils is able to retain our students and really help them not only stay at Iowa State, but really excel at Iowa State and be able to continue in their academic experience at our university. Additionally, all 4 of our governing councils have been recognized internationally or nationally. Every year, our leaders from our councils go to the American Fraternal Leadership and Values Conference, which is held every February. And this past year, all 4 of our councils received many national recognitions from that organization. And that was a fantastic experience to be there, get to meet so many people from so many different organizations and really share what makes our community so great, and really share those experiences with those individuals.
Yes. So our sorority and fraternity community here at ISU consists of 5 main values. These values being academics, civic engagement, friendship, leadership, and social justice.
So we're going to talk through each of them a little bit, kind of talk about our experiences with them, how they permeate through our community. So I'm going to start talking about academics. So academics are generally most generally viewed as our most important value in our community, because when it ultimately comes down to it, we are at college to get a degree and get an education. So that academic focus is really, really important. Our members of our community, on average, have a higher GPA than students that are not involved in the sorority and fraternity community. This comes from a lot of different resources that are provided from being a member of a chapter. Things like tutoring being paid for by your organization, being connected with people in your organization that potentially have the same major as you, really allowing you to collaborate and build resources within your chapter, as well as being able to share study resources as well with other members in your organization really helps improve that experience, as well as just having other individuals that are there to push you to achieve the best academic standing that you can have. Our fall 2019 sorority and fraternity active member GPA was a 3.22 compared to the Iowa State all undergraduate GPA, which fell at a 3.11. So as you can see, the benefits of joining, there's clearly a benefit to joining a sorority and fraternity through those resources. On average, we can really help boost our members to a better academic standing. Like I said before, this includes tutoring assistance as well as scholarships. So our organizations will often provide scholarships to our members. Locally within our organizations, they provide hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars each year in scholarships to their active members and to incoming freshmen as a way of promoting the community as well. So academics really important, and that is the number one thing that we strive for within our community. The next value is civic engagement. Civic engagement really involves more about being actively involved in our community, becoming a better citizen of the world, and really engaging with different opportunities out in the Ames community, as well as around Iowa. So there's a lot of different things that we'll do within our organizations. The most well-known one is our philanthropies. So every organization in our community has one or multiple philanthropies that they're associated with. And every fall and spring or throughout the year, they will host a number of different philanthropy events. This may be like a full-on, like, pay $5 and come eat a meal. Or this may be just on campus selling, having like a bake sale or selling different little items and things like that. All proceeds going towards a good cause or the philanthropy that the chapter is associated with. So our community donates a ton of money each year. They have raised on average about $565,000 per year for different philanthropies, which is really, really awesome. And those philanthropies are both local and national organizations. Additionally, we also have a number of community service opportunities that our chapters will participate in. This may be getting involved in the elections and caucuses, helping those run effectively. This may be volunteering for political campaigns, or it may be park cleanup, roadside cleanup, etc. All of our chapters will do a certain amount of community service each year, and most of our organizations will require a certain amount of community service as well, which is a really great way for our members to get involved and really motivated for those community service opportunities so that they can continue with those later in life. But in previous years, on average, our chapters have completed about 55,000 service hours over the course of 1 year, spread across the community, which is really, really awesome. So the third value we're going to talk about, and B and I are both going to talk about this a little bit, is the value of friendship. So these organizations, these fraternities and sororities, as we mentioned earlier, are social organizations. And, being able to build that connection with other members of your chapter is a really key, important part of that experience. So these friendships are in the form of brotherhood, sisterhood, or siblinghood. And those are individuals that are always going to be there to encourage and inspire you to be your best and in every aspect of your life. Those friendships are really important to getting the most out of your experience in the sorority and fraternity community. And those are friendships that are going to last a lifetime, as your membership for those organizations is lifelong. So you'll be able to maintain those friendships over the years. This is one where we kind of like to share some experiences. So I don't know, do you have a particular friendships related story that you would like to share?
Not.
Sorry, I put you on the spot there.
Yeah, you kind of did, but let's see if I can think of something. Well, I can just speak to the point of, you know, having my brothers. So my ships, my line brothers, we are really close, and a lot of my brothers, we knew each other before joining our organization, but you know, the process of us joining together definitely brought us closer. And it's definitely, the friendship component is very healthy in terms of you have that support system. It's always good, you know, to have your sense of community and to have those that, you know, that you can go to in a time of need. So that friendship is really good in propelling the whole purpose of our individual organization. So that would be one piece. Do you have one by chance, Luke?
I do. I do have a good story for this. That's kind of why I put you on the spot, is because I had a story to share. So my story is a little more specific, but just as important. So when I joined my organization at the beginning of my sophomore year. My freshman year, I kind of just spent sort of, you know, just getting adjusted to college. And right at the beginning of sophomore year, I had some rough events go on in my life, not to get into too specific, that I was really struggling with. And one of the things that many organizations will do is they will assign you, they will kind of pair you with a member who is there to serve as a mentor and a guide for you during your experience through your first semester in that organization. So when I joined my organization, I got assigned to a guy named Blake. He was a junior at the time. I was a sophomore. And he and I already kind of hit it off right away. But he was always there for me during that rough part of my life. You know, a lot of transitions, a lot of changes going on. And I've never met anyone more supportive and, you know, just there for me in that moment. That was a life-changing friendship that I made right then and there because of that, and because I had been, had been matched with that individual, with Blake. And he's still one of my closest friends to this day. He's since graduated now. He's off in Wyoming doing amazing things. But I still keep in touch with him on a regular basis because he is one of my most important friends. And I would not have met him if I hadn't joined my organization. And so I just really cannot be thankful enough for the friendship that these organizations have brought me. Kind of a cheesy story, but that's my fun story. So
I love it. I love it. So our next core value is leadership. Leadership is a big component in almost anything that you do or aspire to do. And the fraternities and sororities here at Iowa State really promote leadership through chapter leadership, as well as different organizational leadership on campus. A lot of the leaders on campus happen to be a part of different sororities and fraternities amongst our community. So we see this within student organizations as well as leadership within the community of AIM. So yeah, our next core value, and one of the most important ones, is social justice. Social justice is really important because it allows the students to use their voice and fight for what they feel needs to be said within the space of Iowa State. It is a safe and welcoming environment. It is inclusive of all members. It's diverse experience for members, and it's education on challenging diverse topics. So within social justice, we have our student government, who really is a focal point of student leaders, going back to that leadership point, that really work in tangent for the voices of the students.
So, moving on from, those are our 5 values. Those are, like I mentioned at the beginning, those are kind of the core tenets of our 4 councils. But now we're actually going to talk about those 4 councils, talk about each of them a little bit more in depth, what they bring, because each council is a little bit different, and hopefully give you some guidance on where you can begin if you're interested in joining one of those 4 councils. So the 4 governing councils within our community are the Collegiate Panhellenic Council, the Interfraternity Council, the Multicultural Greek Council, and the National Panhellenic Council. We're going to talk about each of them, starting with the Collegiate Panhellenic Council. So this council consists of 16 different sororities. 15 of these sororities have chapter facilities. This council covers all of those losing my train of thought for a second. Sorry. So these 16 organizations are fully female organizations that exist to promote all of those values that we mentioned earlier. The main method of joining this council is through the primary recruitment process, which is generally the most well-known of the recruitment processes. This is normally held in the week of classes, right, the week before classes start in the fall. And it's the only opportunity for participating members to see all 16 Collegiate Panhellenic Council sororities. This is because they go through a mutual selection process, meaning that their members will go through and get an opportunity to see every single chapter, and then will preference their top chapters, and those chapters will preference the participants that they like the most. And that will occur for multiple rounds until you eventually are assigned to a chapter based on your preferences, so that when you get to the end of the process, you will be assigned to the chapter that fits you best. It is a long week, but we always like to say trust the process, because it is worth it in the end, as you do find that forever home, hopefully, within your sorority. Additionally, another opportunity to join these organizations is the continuous open bidding process. This begins after primary recruitment has ended, and this is more of an informal way to join a Collegiate Panhellenic Council organization. Unfortunately, not all chapters participate in this process, so we really like to encourage you to sign up for primary recruitment first, and then if you don't think that you find what you're looking for in that, return through continuous open bidding later. Next council is the Interfraternity Council, or IFC. This council covers 30 different fraternities in our community, and 28 of these organizations have chapter facilities. The Interfraternity Council recruitment process is a little bit different from the collegiate process. This is because we do a more informal recruitment process, meaning that it is kind of at the whim of chapters and those that are interested in joining those chapters in deciding what their recruitment process looks like. Some organizations will have you over for dinner a couple times. Some organizations will go play volleyball and invite you. It really is up to the choice of the organizations specifically. However, we do have a number of we have 2 formalized events as well for individuals that maybe are not so comfortable with that informal process, which is about what I was when I was going through. The main one is going to be the fall formal recruitment event. This will be occurring in the fall, right at the beginning of classes, and will be an opportunity to meet all 30 chapters within our council and go through a mutual selection process to find a chapter that fits you best. So we encourage you to look at for that as well. Links for both primary recruitment and fall formal recruitment for the Interfraternity Council can be found on our sorority and fraternity website. Additionally, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the council section, but each council has their own live stream day as well. On this Facebook page as well. They occur throughout the week. I believe it is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's CPC Tuesday, PHC Wednesday, MGC Thursday, IFC Friday?
No, MPHC Thursday.
Okay.
I don't think MGC is Wednesday.
Okay.
MGC, MPHC, IFC.
Okay, thank you. Glad you were on top of that, because I whiffed that. Okay. So yes, those are occurring at the same time as this one on those days. So we encourage you to check those out for more specifics about each of those councils. But with that, B is going to talk about our other two councils.
Yes. So the next council I will be speaking about is MGC, the Multicultural Greek Council. This council consists of Latinx, Asian, and Pacific Islander, as well as LGBTQIA+ organizations. Here at Iowa State, there are 3 fraternities and 5 sororities that are amongst this council. So, in terms of recruitment and intake for this council, there is a joining process that begins every year in the beginning of the academic school year. Most organizations require an Iowa State GPA, as well as there is an event where you can meet the organizations amongst the council at an event called Meet the Greeks, which is hosted every year in the fall. A good way to get in contact with these organizations is to reach out to them and attend their events that they host. And there's also an MGC guidebook that goes out that has more specific information with the council. The next council is the National Panhellenic Council, known as the Divine Nine. It is a historically Black council. It has 2 fraternities and 2 sororities that are active at Iowa State. Intake for this council consists of having an established Iowa State GPA, getting to know chapter members through community service and social events hosted by chapters. The NPHC also hosts Meet the Greeks every year in the fall during the NPHC week, which is a week full of events that are hosted by the council to get to know, people amongst the council, to learn more about organizations, and ultimately just to, come out and make friends and whatnot. Individual organizations host information sessions where you can learn more about the application process as well as the interview process for the organizations that are amongst the council, as well as there is an NPHC guide that goes out the same way as it does with MGC.
So those are our 4 councils. Like I mentioned 2 minutes ago, feel free to check out the other live streams about each of our councils as well. For more specific information on each of those councils. One last thing that we're going to touch on very quickly before we kind of wrap it up and take questions is something that I know a lot of people are concerned about, which is the financial commitment to our organizations. So this is always one of the biggest things, particularly for parents, about their students joining an organization. What we like to say is that this is one of those things that's really going to depend on the organizations that you're interested in. Finances are going to range depending on what organization and what council you're interested in getting involved in. They're also going to range if the chapter has a chapter facility or not. Dues will be higher to live in the chapter facility. It really does depend. So we encourage you, when you're going through your recruitment process, to talk to the individuals who are in the process of recruiting you, to really figure out what those dues will look like for you, because it is hard those change on a semesterly basis. So it is kind of hard to pin it down with an exact value. But we encourage you to reach out to those recruitment chairs and see on a chapter basis what those dues look like. B, do you want to talk about the social media really quick?
Yes. So you can keep up with us by following the SFE. What is the page on Instagram?
The Sorority and Fraternity Community, Iowa State. There's this page on Facebook, and then there's the Instagram page. That's ISU Sorority and Fraternity.
Yes, and by getting engaged with that page, you can find the other council pages and stay connected with us that way.
Yep. And you can also feel free to shoot us an email if you have any questions at sfemain at iastate.edu, as well as checking out our website as well. And there's tons of information and resources on the website as well. So with that, we would like to see if anyone watching has any questions for us at all.
We did get one question, and it's, do we know when move-in is for recruitment?
That is a good question. So these dates are unfortunately kind of up in the air right now. We did have a date set, and then the university decided that they were going to move classes up a week. So we're kind of working with the university at the moment to determine what our best course of action is for the events for both CPC recruitment and IFC recruitment that are scheduled to take place during that week. We're not 100% sure yet on what that's going to look like. But we are waiting to hear back from the university. And the moment that we hear back from the university, we are going to be sharing that all over our social media. So please keep an eye out for that in particular. Additionally, I know the university has kind of changed their move-in plan as well. They are planning to move people in over a longer period of time now. I don't know specifics about that, what that will look like. But I do know that we'll be working with the university as well to make sure that all of our participants are able to move in when they need to in order to be participating in our events if possible. So that was a good question, whoever asked that.
She said thank you.
Cool.
Any more questions for us? Well, Luke, what is your favorite community event?
What is my favorite community event? This is gonna sound a little weird because this is kind of not a big, huge event. But I actually like, my favorite thing I've done in the community was the Sorority and Fraternity Leadership Retreat, which is an event that occurs in January every year. It is for council presidents, chapter presidents, as well as the executive officers of all of the councils, which are what B&I are. And for me, it's an overnight retreat, so it's a couple days at a camp up in northern Iowa. And for me, that was just an amazing experience because that was my first time really getting to meet someone from every single chapter. You know, lots of chapters I had never met anyone from before. Other councils I had not met anyone from before joining becoming this position. And for me, that was just really incredible to see the extent and the real extent and diversity within our community of, you know, backgrounds and things like that. So that was not really I don't know if that counts as a community event, but that's definitely the best event that I've been involved in since joining the community.
Well, I would actually agree. That would be the one that I would say that was it was slightly eye-opening, you know, to really have the whole community in one room, and it kind of shows, like, you know, how much of a unit we are on the campus, you know, so that was very impactful for me as well. But I guess specifically speaking for my council, which is a part of the community, NPHC Week, which is, you know, an event, which is a week full of events that we host, you know, every fall and spring semester. That is always, you know, really eye-opening too, you know, really seeing like people that come out and just really seeing, you know, our impact that we can have as a council as well as an overall community.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I really hope that NPHC Week can happen with all of the stuff that's, you know, with all the pandemic stuff that's going on, because I didn't get to go to it in anything in the spring, but I'm really excited to go in the fall, hopefully. So fingers crossed.
That, you know, even if it can't be in person, we definitely got some virtual tidbits up our sleeve. So
that's what we like to hear. Yeah. No, I'm really excited, hopefully. So yeah.
Any more questions for us? No.
There is a bit of a delay on the live stream too, which makes it hard because I feel like, yeah. Well, if you have any more questions for us after we finished up, feel free to still drop them on the on this video. We will have people coming back through to answer those questions for you if they get dropped on the video after the stream ends. Again, we encourage you to check out all of our other social media sources, our Instagram, our YouTube channel, all of our council Instagrams as well, and Facebooks. And join us over the week for our council live stream, specifically Tuesday through Friday.
Yes, and so just to recap for you, so CPC will be going on Tuesday, MGC Wednesday, NPHC Thursday, and IFC Friday. So if you have any more questions for us specifically regarding to a specific council or organization, feel free to hop in on our lives on those days at the same time today.
Yes. So awesome. Well, I think that's all from us. Thank you all for watching or watching this in the future. And we hope to see you in the community in the fall.
Yes.
So thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.